Hey everybody, in this episode I talk about some things going on with the Belt and Road Initiative. I talk about what's going on between the US and China and Korea, just some speculation. We hear about some things that are going on. Is the trade war related to improved relations with Korea? You get my take. You get my take on Europe and China being tied in together. Good stuff. Take a listen. So first things first, with this episode, let's talk about a headline out of a Chinese newspaper, CGTN. Chinese Vice Foreign Minister and U.S. Representative hold talks on Korean Peninsula. The Chinese Vice Foreign Minister Luo Zhaohui on Friday held a phone conversation with the U.S. Special Representative for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Stephen Biegun, over the current Korean Peninsula issue, said a statement on Chinese Foreign Ministry's official website. During the dialogue, the two sides exchanged views over political solution of Korean Peninsula. China supports the contact and communication between the U.S. and the DPRK, hoping that two countries can meet each other halfway and resume working-level consultations as soon as possible in accordance with the consensus reached by their leaders, noted Luo. For his part, Biegun briefed the latest meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and DPRK top leader Kim Jong-un, elaborating that the U.S. is ready to strengthen communication and coordination with China over the Korean Peninsula issue. So, I've talked about this previously. I do believe that part of the trade war with China is in order to get them to work with us on Korea. Trump has said in the past that China could do more, that actually, I believe he said that China could solve the Korean issue, the issue in Korea, if they wanted to, which I believe is true. I think that China probably has the most sway out of any other country in the region regarding Korea. Do they have absolute sway? Probably not, but probably pretty damn close to it. And I think that China has probably, or the CCP has probably been using Korea as a means to keep us back in terms of negotiating, whether it be on trade or militarily. It keeps us on our toes when you've got Korea firing missiles and threatening nuclear missiles. So I do believe that part of the trade war that we've been engaged in is also to get China to the table with Korea. And I think that is partially why we saw potentially a situation where it looks like we might be opening up relations and becoming more friendly with China on the trade war, because it looks like we're going to make some headway with Korea. Now, that being said, nothing is guaranteed, right? I mean, I actually like Scott Adams' take on this. It's a negotiation. It may or may not work out. People are going to come to the table. People are going to walk away from the table before anything's done. But I do believe that we are seeing a potential, at least short-term solution to Korea. Now, I'm a little skeptical of anything that we do with China and Korea, just because I don't know about a future leader's I don't know about, the next president, if they're going to have the fortitude to stand up to any of our enemies. The Obama administration did not demonstrate that they could do it, and the Bush administration did not demonstrate that they could do it, and the Clinton administration did not demonstrate that they could do it. Everyone's pretty much just been giving in to all of our adversaries for the last 15, 20 years. So it's will be interesting to see if we could buck this trend with Trump and actually continue it. So now let's go on to some Belt and Road news. Hey everybody, this ad is about a podcast called A Little About a Lot podcast. I have not seen it, so take it at your own risk. A Little About a Lot is a variety show by YouTubers Kelsey and Becky behind the channel The Sorry Girls. Kelsey and Becky spill tea about their personal lives, talk about the struggles of relationships and dating. Becky is married and Kelsey is not. Oh my. Research their favorite celebs from the 90s, answer audience questions, interview some badass people, and more. We want to challenge perspectives and leave our audience feeling refreshed, inspired, and with a little more knowledge about a lot. Search your podcast app for A Little About a Lot podcast and subscribe to the A Little About a Lot podcast. And that is it for this. All right, so looking at the Belt and Road news, we have a situation. We'll see. Foreign Minister Wang seeks Eastern European support for the Belt and Road. Beijing looking to bolster support amid worries new EU leadership will adopt a more hostile stance towards China. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi started a week-long tour of 3 Eastern European nations on Sunday. Analysts said Wang's visit to Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary was aimed at garnering more support for the Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing's transcontinental infrastructure project, and to try to expand China's influence in case the new EU leadership adopts a more hostile approach to Beijing. Zhao Junjie, a China-EU relations analyst from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, a think tank affiliated with China's State Council, said Wang's trip could help strengthen China's foothold within Europe, as Eastern European nations sometimes felt neglected by major European powers, countries such as Germany. They go on, now is a tricky time for Beijing, as Europe is going to change its top leaders who might be more assertive against Beijing's policies, such as the Belt and Road Initiative, Zhao said. The newly nominated European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, has warned of China's negative impact on the European Union, which is the country's largest trading partner. As Poland and Hungary are key Eastern European countries, better bilateral ties between Beijing and the two nations can help add to China's sway in the region, Zhao added. Long Jie, a European affairs specialist from Shanghai Institute of International Studies, said Wang's tour could help China expand world markets and fight against protectionism. So, in 2011, it says, China set up a 16+1 initiative, an effort to improve economic cooperation with Central and Eastern European countries, including non-EU members. Greece joined in April, making it 17+1. So it also goes on, in just 8 years, Chinese foreign direct investment in the EU has risen from less than $840 million in 2008 to $42 billion US in 2016. That is staggering increase. According to Rhodium Group statistics, Europe has become increasingly worried about the role of telecoms giant Huawei technologies in the communications network across the continent and fears that projects such as the Belt and Road could erode the bloc's influence and importance. Okay, so basically, as you guys have heard, China is looking into some Eastern European countries like Poland and Hungary, in order to maintain any kind of weakening stance they might have with the EU. So here is my opinion. I have not seriously looked into the new leadership change in Europe. Considering the bureaucracy in Europe seems to be heavily entrenched, if not, it just seems heavily entrenched, that will they have a serious change of heart towards China? I highly doubt it. I think one of the biggest problems with Europe is economics, and the European countries are using China's money and, a lot of other people's money to get things done, whether it be infrastructure projects, whether it be ports. Greece, the Netherlands, lots of countries are using money from China to build and maintain infrastructure. I've mentioned before in a previous podcast that China has significant ownership in ports around the world. And so, are these countries just going to let that money dry up? I don't think so. Especially, for example, in Italy, I believe that the Italian leadership is working with China to build out to take care of some of their infrastructure needs regarding roads. And so, and I can't forget, the UK. The UK has lots of money coming in every year from China through different types of investment into the country. And Europe as a whole is still leaning towards using Huawei as a major contributor in building out their 5G network. Now, obviously, more research is going to need to be done in that area, but all the latest headlines that I've seen indicate that our European allies, the UK, Germany, France, are resisting any push from the US to ditch Huawei for their 5G infrastructure. And I mean, with all of this being said, while I do believe that they do acknowledge the potential threat of having too much reliance on Chinese technology and maybe hardware and infrastructure, what does the economics of the situation dictate? If these countries, the whole Western world's in debt, and if these countries don't feel like they can afford to do things themselves, they got to go where the money is. And China, regardless of China's economic or financial sustainability, if they're offering money and infrastructure spending and building capabilities, I feel like a lot of these countries are going to take advantage. So do I think that this is probably going to work in their favor? Yes, I think so. And I just think that this is something to watch for. So what is the new leadership of Europe going to do regarding China? Like I've said 100 times, I don't make predictions, but I do believe that things are probably going to be business as usual. I've read some, it's so funny, I read some headlines about the British talking out to China about how China better honor their treaty with the UK regarding Hong Kong, and it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. Like the British are going to do anything. I think I said this already. It's just funny to see. It's like, I mean, the British, to me, the country, the government, it's like a neutered dog. I mean, I don't know what there's nothing they would do. There's nothing they will do against China. I just don't ever see that happening. So, and to be honest, I feel like that towards a lot of the European countries. I feel like a lot of them aren't going to do anything in terms of having any kind of confrontational stance with the CCP. So that's what I have to say today about the update in the East. So I hope everyone has a great day.